Just to your own story then, in terms of, you heard a little bit about SiliconBlu and how it came about. Just for those who aren't familiar with, just to go back into the actual technology itself, the problem you're trying to solve and what makes it unique.
Okay, well, I mean, the problem, I suppose the one thing that runs through a lot of what I've done in the last number of years is energy efficiency. You say, well, Bluetooth, that's comms technology, isn't it? Yes, it is. But if you can communicate reliably over a longer distance, i.e. transmit over a longer distance and receive a signal over a longer distance for a particular unit of energy, let's call it battery size, then that leads itself towards being able to get rid of disposable batteries. And that was one of the things that we set out to do going back about 3.5, 4 years ago, was get our BLE subsystem as efficient as possible. So in terms of how quickly the BLE subsystem comes on, you know, how the clock and power management is done, that has to be excellent. The amount of data that's communicated per advertisement, we believe we have as high as it can be. It's about 99%. The global number one is just over 90. We're ahead of them on that, and we know that because some of our guys have worked in that company. We have better receiver sensitivity per microwatt than anybody, and we've taped that out earlier this month, 14th of October. We've ex-Broadcom guys who are working with us on the RF, would be doing a best in class, not second best, only the best. And to do that, we benchmarked against what was the best, and we said we have to be X amount better than that. The guys that are working on our RF are people who pretty much invented the all-digital PLL. They were acquired by Broadcom for that very reason, you know, almost, well, more than 15 years ago, in fact, pushing on towards 20. And they also developed the first BLE RF globally before BLE was a standard. They did it for Samsung glasses before Meta. So we're dealing with royalty here, technical royalty. And so we've a superb, I mean,
so you've seen, just in terms of application, just go back to that then, in terms of the crux of it is, it's far more efficient than the nearest competitor from a, you say, distance perspective, leads to power saving, which could potentially lead to, you know, reduced battery requirements, etc. So particularly for what types of applications would you see? I appreciate you're developing an IP or a solution that could be used in multiple applications, but do you have a sense of, or just give us a sense of where you see that being used?
So where it becomes most important, having extremely low power consumption, is in applications where your battery isn't going to be easily recharged. So things like wireless sensing. For example, if you have a sensor in the corner of a room, if you want that to, if you take phone watch, every year I get batteries sent to me and they get replaced. So every time that happens, I get a piece of rare earth material and put it in, you know, the right bin. Does it get recycled? I really don't know. If it goes into landfill, it's going to poison somebody. I really don't like that. So if you can do things like energy harvesting, where you have things called supercapacitors or rechargeable batteries, if you have a piece of equipment that, say, had a rechargeable battery, the chemistry would be fairly similar to a disposable, but instead of there being, you know, 20 batteries, i.e. one battery for each year of 20 years, you've just got one battery. So if you can get your power consumption down low enough, you can use energy harvesting and supercap technologies, you know, energy storage devices. So that's a big thing. And a lot of that is down to the RF. I would like to say something though as well about, in terms of our technology, we were approached by a guy in the industry that I know very well earlier this year, and he was trying to do a thing called group voice chat over wireless group chat over BLE. Now, anybody who's hard of hearing, or if you're ever in a noisy environment and you're kind of shouting, people will understand how difficult it can be to hear people. So the original Bluetooth was a single device to another single device. That was the original. That was mainly for audio. Then about 6, 7, 8 years ago, there was a new standard came out called Auracast. That's its current name, and that was one-to-many. So you could have something like a smartphone, and you could broadcast to many different devices. You know, you could have multiple speakers in your house playing your music. We were given a challenge by this guy. You know, could we do group voice chat over BLE? And our controller and modem guys got that working. They proved its principle in 3 days, and they had a demo which we have on our website, which we released on the 5th of September of this year, and that's a world first. We're the first company globally to do that.
So that's significant implications. I mean, I know not first hand, but certainly second hand, the implications of that in terms of enhancing for those, as you say, with hard of hearing, particularly in noisy environments, to reduce that and to have that multi-chat function going on, which because you've got multiple things, multiple audios, right, and it can't distinguish between them.
And people who are hard of hearing have more difficulty with that. So you have to have a wireless earbud that would have a microphone in it. So it's not just a speaker, you also need the microphone. So you would have, let's say, 4 people in a noisy restaurant or in a pub at a match, everybody with their earbud, and you just set up like a WhatsApp group. Yeah. You just set it up as a group, and the only people that are in it. Now you do have to do it through a phone, so somebody needs to have a phone that has BLE as well. Yeah. But the latest iPhones do, the latest Samsungs do, and you can just set it up and you can chat away. Even if you're hard of hearing, you can have a higher quality experience.
Right. So tell us where you're at now. You mentioned tape out there recently of.
So I'll give a very quick run through this year. I mean, I'm very lucky in that the key people who are in our former company, Senscom, they all stayed with me. I managed to raise a lot of money very quickly in a time that I'd say has almost never been done in Ireland. So the company was incorporated on 7th of September. I met a Chinese investor, by the way, at MWC in early March, and we got money in early April. And it had to be because the guys couldn't wait around any longer. So the team were in place in April. We had a BLE 5.3 well proven. There was a BLE 5.4 in completion, and we're almost finished a thing called channel sounding. And what that is, it's a technique that's used for distance measurement. So BLE has gone way beyond audio. You can use it for measuring distance, which is a key thing, and channel sounding, depending on how well it's implemented, is capable of measuring distance to less than a meter accuracy, which allows you to do things like find me. You could have it on a keychain, a little beacon or something like that. And where we're trying to bring BLE over the medium term is that you can do things like a kind of a very approximate kind of movement detection. It's very possible with Wi-Fi, as multiple people have done that. Wi-Fi is wider bandwidth, so it's easier. But we're looking at ways of trying to do that kind of stuff as well, so that BLE is not just about wireless communication, but it moves to also being a form of a sensor.
Okay, but your first focus would be on, let's say, the traditional or known use of of BLE in terms of the audio piece? Do you see that as the main?
We have the audio implemented. We have isochronous audio, and that's already done. We see the main opportunity for what we've done with the group voice chat over BLE. I think the main opportunity there would be to work with an audio company that has audio technology and integrate the BLE with it. So there is a group called the Bluetooth SIG, Special Interest Group, and they release requirements documents, feature requirement documents, and 5 of the top 8 hearing aid companies are in that, as in we are seriously interested in wireless group chat. So we will absolutely pursue that. But when you develop a technology, and sometimes that gets developed based on the specs, because Bluetooth is very specs driven, but also you respond to what companies you're getting traction with, and the whole area of wireless sensing, using ultra low power, not just ultra low power BLE, but using things like energy harvesting, smart energy storage, and also ultra low power AI compute to draw more, kind of add intelligence to what's been sensed, so that you can build a bigger picture of what your raw inputs are. That's a very big area that hasn't really happened yet. It's quite fragmented, and I think a lot of the reason is that nobody has really managed yet to do it wirelessly, do it using energy harvesting properly at a cost-effective solution level,
Okay, interesting.
And again, this feeds back into what a lot of the guys are interested in. If you can have, things like really good sensing, you can make buildings more efficient, you can make cities smarter, you can do all sorts of things in transportation, you can make a difference.